What if I told you that we're all living in the Matrix? We're going to create two different images, maybe a third if I feel like doing a third. The first part is going to use Runway and Photoshop, and then the second part is going to use Runway and Midjourney. They've got a retexture feature, which is really cool. So in Runway, which is runwayml.com, you have to have a membership here to be able to do the advanced features. It's not a free service. I don't know if they have a free package right now. I have no relationship to Runway whatsoever. So what we'll do is go over to start a session. And in start a session, I need to get a video that I've already created or downloaded. You need to have a video that you can use. You need to upload that image, or actually upload that video. So I'm going to go in to select an asset, but really quickly before we do that, this works in two different modes. If I click on the little pull down there, I've got Gen 3 Alpha Turbo mode, and that's the fastest image to video and video generation tool. I've got Gen 3 Alpha, which is the highest fidelity video generation, and then the older version, Gen 2, and we can't use this feature in there, but we can use it for Gen 3 Alpha Turbo. Now, when you start out, select the appropriate one. If you have a landscape, like a wide video, then you can use either Gen 3 Alpha Turbo or Gen 3 Alpha. But if you have a vertical video, if you're doing a short or a reel and you want to be able to use that, you need to choose the Gen 3 Alpha Turbo. I like the Alpha Turbo because it's just so fast when I'm doing generations, so I'm going to choose that. And then if I click on the pull down here, I can see that right now it says I can do 5 seconds or 10 seconds. That may change in a second though, because I'm actually going to upload a video. Let's do that. Click select asset, and I'm going to drag and drop or click. So I need to go onto my hard drive here and find the file. I've actually created a clip already. If I go into clips on my computer, I've got this file that I recorded on a little Sony camera, and it was an HD clip. I've already pared it down to 5 seconds in length. So I'm just going to choose this file. You would just need to find a file, again, whether you download it off the internet or you created yourself. Import that, and then when you do that, it's going to give you this crop box. So I actually had an image that was 1280 by 780. It sizes to 1280 by 768, so you can see it's trimming the edges just a little bit. If I wanted to, I could zoom in on this, and I can click and drag, and I can pan inside the frame, so I can move that around. I'm going to zoom all the way, well, not all the way out. I'll zoom out to about there and center it up a little bit. That looks good to me. And I'm going to choose crop. Takes a second. Can I rename my session while we're doing this? Yeah, I'm going to do matrix style effect with Photoshop. Okay, so now I've got my image in here. It's actually the video in here. And now I need to do what? I need to basically say that I want to use this Restyle first frame feature. So where's that located? It's this little icon down here. And it's the one in between the two other ones. So it's the meat of the sandwich. And if you hover over that, it says styled first frame. But if you choose that, you click on that, it's going to pull this box up, and it gives you the original first frame automatically. So you just need to download this. So instead of having to go into video editing software or screen capture software to get the first frame, they've made that available. So you just click download. And I'm running Windows 11 with the Chrome browser. So depending on the OS and the browser that you're running, you have to go to wherever the right location is on your computer. But I've got that file now downloaded to my computer, and I'm going to stick it into this folder that I've already created. So you just need to find a project folder on your computer, create one, and I already created my folder, and I've got this called Runway First Frames. I'll click and drag it over there, so you just need to copy it. Now that's an important piece of this. And at first I was like, well, where do I do my restyling? And I realized like wherever you want. If you've got software already on your computer, whether it be Photoshop or plugins or a website where you've got really cool effects, if you've got image generation software, you can use whatever you want to modify that first frame image. You can add objects to it as well. But what I want to do is go into Photoshop and manipulate that image. So I'm going to open up Photoshop and I'm going to choose Open. Now I've got this file here that I just downloaded. I'm going to click and open it. Let me resize this so it's a little bit bigger on the screen. Control 0 on the keyboard to fit to the window. And I'm going to use this feature in Photoshop, which is called neural filters. I'm running Adobe Photoshop 2025. I can tell you the exact version here by choosing Help About Photoshop. It's version 26.4.1. If you have an older version of Photoshop, this probably wouldn't work unless it's been updated to support the neural filters. And that is located under the filter menu bar. And then you just go to neural filters. Your mileage may vary depending on the processor that you have on your computer. I'm running a Windows laptop computer that has a 4090 portable GPU, and it's got 16 gigabyte of RAM. So just as a benchmark, just for comparison, when you see this running, how long it takes. If you've got an older card, like an older GPU, like a 2080 or a 3090, it's going to run a little bit slower because it's running locally on your computer. It is using AI to do this, which is cool. It runs right on your machine locally. When you go into the neural filters, you've got a long list of them. I'm not going to give you a tour of all of the different options. There are many. You can do a lot of really powerful things in here, but I'll tell you that in order to access these, you just go in and you click on the little button. And the one that we want to do here is called Style Transfer. So I'm going to turn that on. And when I turn it on, I can see that it provides me with thumbnails of various presets. And if I look at these different thumbnails, I can see I've got different art styles. This one here doesn't have, it hasn't been downloaded. It's got a little cloud and an arrow, the universal sign for you need to download this from the cloud. So when you click on it, it downloads it to your computer. And I've already used a bunch of these myself. But if you go to image styles, and you scroll through these, there's some cool ones in here, by the way. They've got kind of a Dia de los Muertos, Skull and Rose, tattoo style. I love that kind of artwork. They've got Van Gogh in here. You could apply these different styles, but the one that I want to use, because it just simplifies this process of making a matrix style code, looks like this. So I click on it, and now it's going to apply that style. I'm going to go up here and choose Fit Screen, just so it fits in the window, so it maximizes my real estate and lets you see what I'm doing. Right now, it looks like kind of a big mess on the screen. That's because these settings are configurable, and you can change this. If for example, I modify the detail, it's going to change those zeros and ones. So I'm going to click and drag this detail down from 100. I'm going to take that down to 0. Look at how big those zeros and ones are. If I go to like a 40 something, might take a second, but it's going to change that image. Doing it up higher, higher. And I think I'll just crank this all the way to 100. With style opacity for this effect, I recommend that you go all the way up to 100. I'll show you what this looks like if you drag it down lower. Basically, it's kind of like if you have layers in Photoshop, the opacity is going to, if it's not at 100, it's going to let you see through to the original image. I don't like to do this because as I've experimented, it gives you some really weird effects in Runway because it turns it into other people. And what I want to do is just have the code itself, and that's all you can see. So I'm going to go to 100, and then you lose like the original raster image of me. With strength, when you click and drag the strength, you're going to hear your fan kick in on your GPU possibly, because it is going to reprocess that locally. I'll just show this to you real quick. If I move the strength up to 84, it says processing on device, and it just changed it a little bit on the screen. I'm going to drop that back down to 20 because if I go to the lower value, Like I'm able to actually see a little bit more of the original image there. Yep. See, I want those outlines. So that's all well and good, but this isn't as detailed as I want. When I take it into Runway, when I take it into Runway, if I said Midjourney before, sorry, but if I take it into Runway, it doesn't have enough data to work with to identify the original person or the subject. So this works well to go into background blur, and I'm going to click and I'm going to drag this over. I'm going to move this to about 30. When I do that, you can see it now has blurred out the background. And so now I've got my subject standing here. That's me standing there, and it looks like code. If I go all the way to 100, that's too blurry. I still want to have some zeros and ones in the background, so I like that. That's 30. So if you want to make a note of the settings here, I've got strength of 18, opacity at 100, detail at 100, background blur at 30. And if I want to, I can punch up the saturation. I might make this look a little bit more like an old computer screen by taking that saturation and kicking it up to 10 or so. It just punches the green just a little bit more. All right, so I'm good to go. I can click OK, but I do like to choose output. I like to do new layer instead of current layer. If you have that option current layer selected, it's going to replace the contents of the layer in your original Photoshop file. I like to do new layer so I can see kind of a before and after. So with that selected, I'll click OK. And now I can see my image. I'm just again going to hit Control and 0 on the keyboard to fit that within the window. And that looks good. I can toggle by hitting the little eyeball here to toggle the visibility. So I've got my before and I've got my after. I'm going to export this now as a PNG, Portable Network Graphic. Do that by going up to File. I'm going to do Export. I'm going to take a look at the settings here real quick. I'll do an Export As. And then under the File settings, I'm going to choose PNG. I could also choose JPEG if I wanted to, but I like the PNG format. And I'm going to use all of the presets that are in here and choose Export. And then I just need to make sure that I put this into a folder where I can find it. So I'm just going to call this here matrix style first frame.png and click Save. All right, let's go back over here to Runway. And this is where I give it the frame that I just modified. So, I mean, it's pretty straightforward, right? I've got that first frame that I downloaded. I use whatever software I want to modify that frame, and then I need to re-upload it, and it's going to use that modified first frame to roll through the rest of the video and make the changes. So upload, I'm going to navigate to the folder where I just stored that file. There's my matrix style first frame, and I'll click Open. And now all I need to do is click Generate. Okay, 5 seconds is the only option that I have in the turbo mode. So that's why I sized it to 5 seconds when I edited the original video clip so it would match perfectly. Okay, I'm going to click Generate. And then we'll just wait for a second here. While it's doing that, I'm going to click Generate to add another to the queue. A lot of times you need to kind of regen these. Got to roll those dice a few times. If you've used Runway, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes it's magic, and sometimes it's not. All right, so there we go. There's my first generation. Let me go ahead and click play.
Living in the Matrix. What if I told you that we're all living in the Matrix? What if I told you that we're all living in the Matrix?
All right, that's actually not too bad. That looks pretty good. It did add some percentages in the background, which I'm not wild about. That's why we do the re-rolls. I'm going to click play.
What if I told you?
Oh, I like that.
What if I told you that we're all living in the Matrix?
That's sweet. Okay, cool. So just after one re-roll, that looked great. Let me just do one more here, and I just want to see what that looks like. And as it's doing that, I can download that file if I want to the computer. If I'm in Runway doing a lot of re-rolls and different clips, it's hard to go back. They've got pretty good organization on their website, but it's just better, I think, to download it to the local system. You can also, if you want to, upscale to 4K. That one's actually pretty good, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do an upscale on that one while we're waiting for this other one to finish. And it's actually going to take that original file and right, it should have been at 1280 by what 768 were the dimensions, and it's going to upscale it to a 4K image, which is really cool. So they're both sitting there at 98%. This is my second reroll here. Yeah,
Living in the matrix.
I think the second one that we did is the best one here, and we could sit there and we could do that over and over again, but this should be the 4K version.
What if I told you
Go full
that
screen.
we're all living in the matrix? What if I told you that we're all living in the matrix?
Yeah, that's
What if I
awesome.
told you that we're all living in the matrix?
Okay, so that is using Photoshop and the neural filter that just automatically goes through. And what I really like about Photoshop is the fact that it's got that blur feature, and that brings the subject forward without you having to go in and do any masks or anything like that. So that's the first one. So that's really cool. Now, what I want to do is I want to go out to Midjourney. So this is the second example. So I'll go out here to Midjourney. And with Midjourney, it's basically going to be the same process when we get back to Runway. So all I'm doing is I'm taking that original thumbnail that I downloaded, and I'm going to use the Restylize feature. Now, if you're like me and you've been using Midjourney since like the very beginning, you're used to using Discord. And so when you're in Discord, you can do all of your stylizations, you can do style references, character references. But I find that with now that they've got this and they've had it out for quite some time now, but if you go to the website, you can go into the edit feature, and this is what we're using today. So I had to pick one or the other, and I decided to go with the website just because it has some pretty nice features for doing your editing. So when I go to edit, now I have a couple different options here on the screen. And the first is to edit from a URL, which is good if you have a Midjourney image that you've created like in Discord and you've got the URL, you can edit right from the URL. If you've got a website, you can pull that image as well. But what I want to do is upload that original thumbnail, that first frame thumbnail that was created. So I'm going to choose Edit Uploaded Image. And I've got my Runway first frames. That's where the original file is still located there. So I could go to that and choose Open. And it's going to pull this image up on the screen. And there's a whole set of features that you can use to edit your images, which is nice. But we don't want to do that right now. What we want to do is we want to use the Retexture feature. So in the upper left-hand corner, you can see that there are two different tabs. What you want to choose is the Retexture feature. And when you choose the Retexture feature, what this allows you to do is apply a different style. They didn't really call it styles. You've got all sorts of different ways that you can do style references and mood boards and all sorts of stuff in Midjourney. But what I'm going to do here is go in here and I'm going to type in, instead of doing well, let's just actually try this. I'm just going to do like a green laser sketch on black background digital code, and we'll see what that looks like. I can just click Submit Retexture, but I can also go in and change these prompt settings. If I click on that icon, I have different things like, especially under aesthetics, you can modify the stylization, the weirdness, which is quirky stuff that you can introduce. And it's fun to play around with these settings. It really is. And then you can go into variety and you can modify those. So basically, you just click and play around with the different options. And when you get, you get one image, if you don't like it, go in and apply it again and do another. So I'm going to go ahead and choose Submit Retexture and just see what we get as a base image here. And instead of using Photoshop, if you don't have Photoshop, but you do have access to Midjourney, this is one way that you could do it. See what we got. Yeah, that actually looks pretty cool. And let me just go ahead and I'll add with holographic fog and see what that looks like. Now, each time I do this on the website, it gives me 4 different generations. You can see in the upper right that it's actually doing the 4 gens. Let me go back and look at, I'll start in the lower right here. So that was one that it did. Red, I guess evil matrix style. There's another green, another green. That's the one that we had before. And then that's the one with the holographic fog. That's cool, like that as well. So lots of different options. And it's taken me in my living room now. It's actually seeing enough information there to be able to convert it into this code-like stuff. So that looks good. But we already did the matrix style effect. So I'm a huge fan of the Alien movies. The original Alien movie in 1979 is, if not my favorite movie, it is one of my favorite movies for sure. I've seen it 1,000 times. I absolutely love it. So what I'd be interested in doing here is going in and I'm just going to do an alien xenomorph in an HR Geiger style cave. And let me go ahead here and I'm going to choose for stylization. I'm going to crank that up a little bit more and I'm going to turn the weirdness down. We're going to go middle path on the weirdness and variety. The variety is just the predictability, like how varied those things are, how reproducible they are. So let me go ahead and click submit retexture on this. And it's going in and it's applying this new prompt to the image of me standing in the living room. That is fairly wicked. Yikes. That is. Oh, wow. Okay. That one's actually cool, but I think I want to do a re-roll on this. Let me actually go weirdness. I'm going to crank that all the way up. We're going to turn the dial to 11, which in this case is 3000. And let me go ahead and do submit retexture. Processing. That is cool. I really like that one. Okay, I'm going to go with this one here. So I'm going to download this. I'm going to click download image. And that's going into my download folder. But let's do one more actually, because I think it would be fun just as we're in Midjourney, just to show you here with the prompt how I can do something else. So I'm also going to do an ancient zombie standing in a crypt. And we're going to choose weirdness. We'll go 2300. Stylization will just drop down to 300. And retexture. Oh, wow. Okay, I like the first one. That's actually pretty wicked. Looks a little like out of focus. I think what I'll do here is I'll turn the weirdness down on that, turn the stylization up, and turn the variety up. See what that gives us. Oh, that is weird. It's a mini creature coming out of his torso. Okay, that looks like a early generation video game there. Yeah, that's like I don't know, it looks like not quite Nintendo 64 style graphics, but oh, that one's cool though. Oh, I like that one. Okay, I like that one. I'm gonna go with this one. Let's see, what was the other one that I liked? Oh, I definitely like this one better. That's got better resolution. Okay, so I'm gonna download that image, and then I'm gonna go into my downloads folder, and we'll take a look at that folder. And I'm just going to take these 2 files, select them, and copy. Then I'm going to go back over to the folder. runway first frames, and we're going to paste those. And we'll just call this alien first frame. And then we'll do zombie first frame. And then we'll go back over to Runway. And I'm just going to start a new session here just to kind of walk you through again. If I was doing this from the very beginning, I would go to my dashboard, go to Start Session, go to Select Asset. I'm going to make sure that I choose my video as well. So I'm going to go into the location that had my video. I would crop it, but I'm going to choose the same crop that I had before. And I don't need to choose first frame in this case because I actually have my first frame. Like stylized first frame, I don't need to download it. I've already done that, obviously. So now I'm going to do upload, and I'm going to choose, let's see, which one should we do? I think I heard somebody say they wanted to do the zombie first. So let's do the zombie, and we're going to click generate. And I'm going to keep that in there as this processes. We'll do the xenomorph as the last one. All right, let's go full screen on this and hit play.
Living in the Matrix. What if I told you that we're all living in the Matrix? What if I told you that we're all living in the Matrix?
All right, that's cool.
That we're all...
Let me do one more re-roll here. I'm going to do remove. While that's working, I'll do upload, and I'll choose the alien, and I'll do a generate on that, kind of multitask. And I'll do another generation too. So as it's doing this, if you like this kind of video and you're interested in content creation and using AI to do video, getting into Midjourney, getting into Photoshop, let me know in the comments. I'd appreciate it. And it certainly helps the YouTube algorithm, as you know, if you do a like and subscribe if you're interested in getting new content. But if you're interested in getting into some more Midjourney stuff, if you want to get into some more of the Runway features, let me know as well. There's so many things to explore, and the tools are just constantly evolving. I use these tools to do the shorts on this channel as well. All right, let's go ahead and go full screen here and see what this looks like.
Living in the Matrix. What if I told you that we're all living in the Matrix? What if I told you that we're all living in the Matrix?
Okay, that one, the mouth didn't work out. You can see some artifacting around the sides as well.
What if I told you that we're all living in the Matrix? What if I told...
Yeah, so I'd have to do some more re-rolls there, but I have to say that the zombie one is pretty cool. I think we actually lucked out on the first one here. Oh, I like the fog rolling up there as well. Okay, so yeah, this is basically the new Runway first frame feature here where you can go in and do a stylized frame. It's really awesome. As they continue to make updates to this, I'll definitely let you know if there's something that catches my eye and there's a new feature that I've tried out. So thanks for watching. Take care. See you soon.